Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today I need to put together a sympathy arrangement in a basket. So this is what we call a cemetery basket. It's really just a plastic container. And what I've done is I've taken a little bit of plaster of Paris, I'm gonna lean it up, and I have plaster of Paris is kind of a powder, and so I put some down into the container. I took a little bit of water and I mixed it up. Now you don't want it too thin because if it's too thin it takes longer for it to set up. But I made it almost the consistency of biscuits, a little bit looser than you would biscuit dough. And then I took my foam, I just cut about 1/3 of a block of foam and tucked it right over into my plaster of Paris. You're gonna let that sit up, and that's going to, it gives your container a little bit of weight. If you want it to be heavier, you can certainly add some stones or rocks down into the bottom of the container, and that's going to help it with weight. We also take these and I will cut some stakes, and so that way they can take the bottom of the plastic container, it's just kind of a little ring, and they can stake this to the ground so it doesn't blow away. But those are all just some ways to keep it standing on the grave. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of Spanish moss, and I am going to cover this foam because this is a lot to cover if you were just going to cover it with greenery. So I'm going to take some moss. I'm just going to kind of tuck that around that foam, and that's just covering up that green foam. And if that moss shows through, it looks like I meant for it to. Okay? Next, we're going to take some leather leaf. So this is just a plastic leather leaf that we get from our local supply store. It's not even local. Our floral supply store online. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each stem, and I have a small glue pan here, and I am just going to dip that stem right down into that glue. As I dip it into the glue, I'm just going to press it right into that styrofoam. And I am just going to do that with each and every piece of this greenery. And you're just really going to make a fan-shaped arrangement. And I'm just taking each stem, dipping it in my glue, and then pressing it right into that foam. Now what that's going to do is it's going to ensure that this greenery stays in place. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my second bundle of leather, and I believe you get 12 stems. Yeah, you get 12 stems in a bundle of this leather leaf. And I believe I ordered this from Direct Floral. But I'm just taking it and dipping my glue right down into, my stem right down into that glue. And I got it all over my fingers. Now I'm going to turn my basket around, and I'm going to add greenery back here on the back. I just think it's always very important that you finish your arrangement. And what that means is I don't want it to be unfinished on the back. So just take a little bit of greenery, and it doesn't really take much, but just kind of cover up that foam, cover up those mechanics so it looks presentable, okay? All right, so there is our greenery in our container. I'm going to just set these extra little stems to the side. If I need them in a little bit, we can add them to it. Next, what I'm going to do is I have taken this is a bush of greenery, of flowers, and we are going to cut them off of this stem, and we're going to tuck them into our arrangement. So I'm going to take my wire snips, and I am just going to individually cut each flower off this stem. Now, I know that a lot of times people don't think about cutting the flowers off of the bush itself. You want to kind of leave it all together. And honestly, that would be so much easier. The problem is that it's hard to make the arrangement with any style if you just stick the entire bush right down into the basket, okay, or into the foam. So I am just going to, if I can get it loose, I'm just cutting each of these stems right off this bush. So just take your snips and cut each stem. All right, so I've cut them all off. I'm just going to throw this piece away. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to arrange our flowers right into our basket. So I'm going to start out, this is a beautiful yellow peony. So I'm going to take that stem, dip it right into that glue and tuck that right in. I like to do one type of flower at a time. Now it's really completely up to you. You can design it any way you would like, but I'm taking each stem and I'm dipping it right into that glue and tucking it right into my foam. Now I happen to have 5 stems of these peonies, so I am just kind of spreading them throughout, actually 6. Spreading them throughout this arrangement. And I'm just dipping that stem right into that glue and tucking that right into that foam. Be sure to take your tags off. Don't leave tags on your arrangement. So I'm going to take it, dip it in glue, and just tuck it right in. Okay, so there's all the peonies arranged in the container. Next, we're going to come in with some pretty yellow roses. So I'm going to take those roses. I've got all my pretty yellow roses, so I'm just going to hold them in my hands, dip that in glue, and just go ahead and arrange those pretty yellow roses in there. Now, if you need some more height on these flowers, you can certainly take and put a little wood pick on these flowers. And that's going to extend the length of the stem. You certainly can do that. And if they need to be trimmed up, go ahead and use your snips and trim those up. Okay, there's my yellow roses. Next, we're going to come in with a few stems of white flowers. So I have 2 of these lined. I guess this would be considered like a larkspur. So 2 pretty lark. I think we're going to go up high with those. So I am going to open up my little drawer back here and grab us a few wood picks, and I'm going to show you how to extend the length of the flower. So I'm going to take my stem, I'm going to lay it right there on that pick, and I am just going to wrap that stem with that wire. So just wrap it really tightly, and so that's going to extend that stem enough to give us some height in this arrangement. So I'm going to dip that stem right into that glue, press that right into my foam, and I'm going to do the same with my second stem. And I'm just wrapping it tightly. Now you can take some corsage tape and tape that stem if you want to. It's not necessary, but you can certainly do that if you feel like that's going to make it hold tighter. All right, next I'm going to come in with these pretty, I guess these are little white Gerbera daisies. So let me show you those. So some pretty little white Gerberas. And you're going to continue to do the same thing. Just dip it in that glue, tuck it right into that foam. All right, so there's our Gerbera daisies. Next, what we're going to do to finish off this basket, they ask that we put black ribbon on the basket. So this is from a school, and the school colors are black and gold, and so that's the reason we use so much yellow, and we're going to use black ribbon. I'm going to take some floral satin. This is number 40, and it's just a black. Floral satin has a shiny side, a pretty side, and then it kind of has a dull side. So what I'm going to do is I'm holding that ribbon between my thumb and my forefinger, and I am going to roll it, and you'll see it's just kind of a little roll. I'm gonna twist. So when I rolled it, I have the dole side facing me here. So I'm gonna do a twist, and then I'm going to make a loop. Catch it with that forefinger, a twist, make a loop, catch it. So what that did was it gave us a center loop. And that center loop covers our wire. So it just kind of covers that mechanic, okay? I'm gonna twist a loop. I'm gonna make 5 loops on each side. Actually, yeah, let's make 5 loops. All right, so I have my 5 loops on each side. Now we're gonna make some tails. Let me show you how I make tails. So I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna go ahead and do another twist. I'm gonna take that tail that I have here. I'm gonna make a loop and I'm gonna catch it right up underneath my forefinger. And there is my tails there, okay? So I'm gonna take my scissors. I'm gonna cut it from the roll itself, and then I'm gonna cut that tail in half. Just like that. So I have 2 tails there. Okay, I'm gonna take a piece of wire. So I like to use 21 gauge florist wire, and I cut it in half because I really don't need that long piece. And I'm going to take that half of the wire, I'm running it right through that center loop. So I ran it right through that center loop. So there's my wire right there, and I've laid it right up underneath my thumb. That's between, it's in the center of that ribbon. It's hard to see, but there's my thumb. And then I'm going to bend that wire down, just like that. And I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to twist, 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 okay? Now I'm gonna fluff my bow. So I like to just hold that wire kind of tight in there, and I'm just gonna take and pull those loops to fluff that bow. The reason you hold that wire that's in the middle of that ribbon is because it keeps you from pulling those loops loose. I'm gonna take this piece of wire and I am going to put it on a wood pick. So I'm gonna take that and I'm just wrapping that stem, that wire right around that stem or that wood pick, and then I'm going to take the wire that's attached to the pick and wrap it again around the wire that held the ribbon together. So there's our bow on a wood pick. So there's the pick there. I'm just going to take this bow and I'm going to press it right into that foam. I'm not gluing it in. It usually stays pretty tight. You don't usually have to worry about gluing it in. And there we have it. There is a sympathy basket. I hope that this tutorial helps, guys. If you have any questions about how we make things here at our flower shop, please don't hesitate to ask that in the comments below. And if you'll do us a great big favor, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, hit that little bell down below, and it'll give you notifications for when we put up a new video. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and if you'd like to see more of these videos, you can check us out over on Facebook. We go live there every day. Thank you.